Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to have everyone here today for our LinkedIn Mastering the Basics. Know the foundations about how to maneuver on LinkedIn so that you can grow your business, because that is what we all want to see happen, I would think, anyway. If you're with me on that, go ahead and throw a yes in the chat. I love interaction. You'll hear that from me today. So yay, yes, that's what I love to see. Thank you so much for playing full out. I'm going to, well, that didn't work the way I planned. Give me one moment and I'm gonna start the training today, where we're gonna talk about all the different ways that you can use LinkedIn to grow your business. And it, as you will see, it all starts with your profile. So I'm going to share my screen now. And I'm gonna make sure everybody is seeing LinkedIn Masterclass. Somebody seeing that? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for that confirmation. What I want to say, of course, again, is that I am so excited that each of you are here with me live today. And if you're listening on the replay, I'm excited that you're listening to the replay. You will get the information that you need to give your LinkedIn presence the boost that you want to see so that you can begin attracting ideal clients. And I think that is something I can say with confidence that everyone on this call would like to have happen for them. So just a little bit about me. If you don't know who I am, I'm Laura Barker. I am an attorney by trade, but I am an entrepreneur at heart. I have been training business owners like yourself how to use the LinkedIn platform to get new business as you venture into LinkedIn, or maybe you're already an experienced LinkedIn user but want to up your game. So thank you for being here today. Going to take care of just three little simple housekeeping requests. First, please eliminate any distractions so that you can take notes. And that means, get a notepad if you need to, or what have you. Please put your questions in the chat. Rita Thomas, our funnel godmother and Keep certified partner and organizer extraordinaire, is going to help me with the questions in the chat. So she is there to take care of you. And then finally, I'm going to ask everybody to please stay on mute so that we can get a clean recording for the replay, so that everyone will be able to listen without any interruptions as they are going through it a second time, or maybe listening to this for the first time. And Rita, if you will help me keep everyone muted, that would be fantastic. Thank you. What we're going to cover today. So first and foremost, I'm just going to give you a little introduction to what's known as the Barker 20 method. This is a simple system because, as you will learn from me, I really do believe in keeping things simple, because we'll use something that's simple, right? If it's too complicated, forget about it. I'm sure y'all would agree. So we want to keep it simple. I'm just going to give you a slight introduction to that. And what that is a system that allows you to grow your LinkedIn business in 20 minutes a day. But there is some setup required to make that happen. And that's really what we're talking about today, which is optimizing your profile so that you can attract ideal clients. Finally, we're going to talk about the next steps to implement your LinkedIn strategy. And here we go. Okay. I will not be taking questions during the training part of this webinar. So if you have questions, please put them in the chat. And then I will, if there is time, we will address them at the end of the webinar. Appreciate that. So let's talk about what I like to start with, which is this quote. Our problem is not that we aim too high and miss, but that we aim too low and hit. That's Aristotle. A little bit ancient wisdom still holds true today, in my opinion. Aristotle identified the problem that many people face in achieving the kind of success that they dream of. Ask yourself, Where is your aim? Do you have a step-by-step plan to achieve it? Imagine if NASA only aimed to get above the Earth's atmosphere. They didn't do just that, did they, though? They aimed high and just launched what's known as the JW telescope, which is 1,000,000 miles away from Earth, and launched without a glitch. Want to know how that happened? Constant tweaking, right? Constant course correction. And that's really what we have to do in marketing, right? We want to aim high. And if it looks like we're getting off course, it's time to course correct, right? So that is what I like to focus my attention on. And I would encourage you to do the same. Let's aim high together. Now, why would we focus on LinkedIn? Well, let's start with why we might want to do that. The LinkedIn, first of all, gives you a bottomless well of qualified leads. There are over 875 million users on LinkedIn now. That's up from a year ago by 75 million. It just keeps growing. You will save time by sifting and sorting through the massive sea of people who are online. You can expand outside of your limited circles. And why do I say limited? Because we all have limited circles one way or another, right? And I started using LinkedIn so that I could get outside of my kind of comfort zone with the circles I was already in and expand my reach. And that's what you can use LinkedIn for also. You can also use it to build relationships. And in today's economy, relationship is the name of the game in sales. I'm sure you're aware of that. LinkedIn is the perfect place to create those relationships. LinkedIn allows you to attract prospects, not just go out and find them, but actually attract them when you have an optimized profile, especially. Last, though, and certainly not least, is that on LinkedIn and with the system that I train on, you can consistently book those all-important one-on-one sales meetings. It is those one-on-one meetings where we sell. We all know that's true. So when you are on LinkedIn, you are not selling, you're building relationships. And that effort leads to those one-on-one meetings using the Barker 20 system. Now, what is that exactly? Well, here's just a quick glance at it. So the first part of the Barker 20 is that you learn how to connect with the ideal connections. You don't want just a connection list that is made up of random people, right? Wouldn't it be great to have a list of connections that was actually consisted of your ideal prospects and ideal clients? You learn how to find those ideal connections, learn how to connect with them with the proper requests. And I do want to say here, LinkedIn is a place for patience. It's not like other social media platforms where it's, boom, boom, you write something, they write something, you write something, they write something. That's not how it happens on LinkedIn. Everybody on LinkedIn is a business owner. Everybody on LinkedIn is super busy. There are people on LinkedIn who are so busy, they may not check their messages or their connection requests for months. And then you think that they're dead in the water. Why should you pay attention? Well, keep paying attention, because you'll find 6 months later, somebody will connect with you that you requested, and then they'll actually start engaging with you. It's crazy. So be patient on LinkedIn. The next thing that you want to know about is engagement. How do you get engagement? Well, you're going to start a conversation, show you how to do that. You're going to add value. You're always going to be authentic. Never try to be something that you're not. Never pitch. Never ever pitch on LinkedIn. And also, my training leverages the algorithm. I believe in data. And what you'll see as we go through the training today is that the data meets out that if we follow these systems, then you will get those one-on-one meetings, you will get better connections, you will have better engagement. But what is the next step? There's 3 steps in this. Finally, it is convert. You want to convert those conversations to a meeting. Once you learn this system, it literally is wash, rinse, repeat. It really is this simple. And I'm going to tell you more about that a little bit later in today's training. But in a 4-week training that I offer, you develop all aspects of this system specifically for your business so that you can easily implement the Barker 20 for Success. Like I said, I'll share a bit more about that later. What we're going to focus on today, though, is the proper setup so that you can take advantage of the Barker 20 system and of LinkedIn in general, so that your profile is optimized and will do the heavy lifting. But first, let me just tell you for a minute about Barbara Johnson. She is the heart-centered accountant. And what does that mean? It means that she is always looking out for her clients' best interests. And you would think that would be a given, but I can tell you, we all know in business, it's not, unfortunately. But with Barbara, it is. So she implemented the system. She was booking 15 meetings a week. She now has 18 new monthly accounting clients. She went from 129 connections to over 1,200. And what's funny about this is that she was getting so much business, she actually had to scale back her Barker 20 activity because she had to clear some time on her calendar to actually be working with her new clients, right? But the great thing is that she knows when she's ready to expand again, take on more clients, she never has to worry about how to find those new clients again. She just goes back to her system that she knows works. Now, that said, you've seen what it's done for Barbara, and you've heard me kind of talk about it, but don't take my word for it, because as I mentioned a few minutes ago, I really believe in data. And the system that I train you, both in what you're going to learn today, and if you decide to take any more training with me, you'll learn it in more detail. But I use a 2-phase engagement strategy, which will dramatically increase the reach based on the LinkedIn algorithm. And you can see here that this is impressions. And took a little time off in December. And you can see my next post, my reach went up over 1,100% using this system. That's on my impressions. Now it counts in engagement too. So impressions are one thing, engagement's another. I'm getting consistently increased engagement by using this same system. Paying attention to the analytics that LinkedIn provides for us allows you to continuously improve and continuously make those course corrections like NASA did, so we can all be rockets in our business, rocket fuel for our business. Now let's dig into optimizing your LinkedIn profile so that it can start doing the heavy lifting for you by attracting ideal clients who will self-identify based on your rockstar profile. So it all begins with your profile. What does an optimized profile mean? Why does it matter? And what does it look like? It's magic. What it means is that it impacts your SEO ranking, both in Google, but LinkedIn is just a big search engine. It's important to realize that. So it improves your ranking in LinkedIn searches. So everything I'm going to be sharing with you is going to be aimed at that as well. It will also improve your general Google search status, because of course, Google also indexes LinkedIn and uses SEO for their purposes, which will have you showing up more in Google searches for your industry, your type of service, what you offer, so that's another great reason for your profile to be fully optimized. Here's another great thing. If you don't have a website yet, I hate to break it to you, you kind of do. What that means is that whether you are ready for it or not, if you are on LinkedIn, that's going to show up when people are searching on Google, and it will serve as your website if you don't have one. So it needs to look spot on. It needs to be shiny. It needs to be professional. That's what we're going to establish today. Know also, though, that even if you have a website, when people search your LinkedIn profile is also going to come up. Those two pieces need to be consistent so that your brand is recognizable, so that people are clear on what you do. And one thing to think about, I don't know how long it took you to put your website together. It took me a little while, and it took me a lot of money. I spent a lot of time on it. I would suggest that it is equally important for you to spend just that much amount of time and attention to your LinkedIn profile, because it's up there and out there in the world right now, with or without your website. And people will go to it oftentimes first because they know your website's basically a sales page, right? We all know that. Your LinkedIn profile lets people see more about who you are. They can watch your activity and see what you talk about, which is why I'm really dialed in today for you on your profile. It also gives you a free customized URL. So you do not want your LinkedIn URL to have a bunch of numbers in it when you can make it have your name or your business name, right? So that's important to realize that you have that ability on LinkedIn. LinkedIn also gives you a place to build concise messaging, which reinforces your brand and helps people find out what you're all about in one place. It also will do the heavy lifting for you. And what do I mean by that? I'm going to get into that in a little bit more detail as we go through today. But in essence, it means that people will self-identify with your profile. So if your profile is optimized, that means that people for whom they might be an ideal client, they're going to want to connect with you. You want their reaction to be, where have you been all my life? When they see your profile, right? Then you know that people connecting with you, they are already interested in what you do, in what you have to offer. And I'm going to share some new features towards the end of this training that really help identify those offerings and how you can present them. Last but not least, your investment for LinkedIn, guess how much? Like $0. So everything I'm going to show you today can be done on the free account. And LinkedIn gives us so many powerful tools. It just keeps me excited about this platform. So talking about heavy lifting. What is the point of being on LinkedIn if it isn't delivering business to your virtual doorstep? This gentleman reached out to me after viewing my profile. He requested to connect and sent me a message. Who doesn't want a message like this in your LinkedIn inbox that says, I see you list LinkedIn training. How does that work? If you would like messages like that in your inbox, throw a yes in the chat for me. I'm pretty sure I know the answer and that you would all like to see that, have that show up in your profile, in your LinkedIn inbox. And keep in mind, this is just one example of the Barker 20 in action, because we create something called message trees that show you how to, well, first optimizing your profile, but we go beyond that so that you can continue the conversation in ways that continue to move the needle and book those meetings. Your profile. It really has to be optimized so that it will work for you while you sleep. Now, how important is it? Well, it's very important. In fact, it's everything. It is the hub of all of your LinkedIn activity. It will determine whether people accept your connection request. It will determine whether people request to connect with you. To make sure that your profile is dialed in and going to be attracting the right audience, the first thing you need to do is identify your LinkedIn why. Now, I know I could ask everybody on this call who can identify their why, and everybody could tell me the why for why you're in business. But I'm talking about something a little bit different. Your LinkedIn why is, what do you want to get out of the platform? Are you looking for new clients? Are you looking for speaking opportunities? Are you looking to build your brand? There are a lot of different reasons people get on LinkedIn. And once you've narrowed it down, it will inform the content you put on your professional profile page. An interesting survey that I came across found that 97% of respondents said that getting new clients was their main purpose for being on LinkedIn. I guess we're not that surprised by that, right? Brand exposure was next in line, brand exposure and visibility at 84%. And then to achieve these types of goals and other ones, your profile is the key, because it is where people turn to first learn about you. That being said, before you can optimize that profile's content, you have to know all about your ideal client. You have templates for several different resources in the resource page I've sent. You'll get it after today's training as well. Please take advantage of those. Knowing your ideal client means a little something different to me than it does to most. I'm sure everybody on here has completed at some point an ideal client profile form, right? But what I want you to think about is to go a little bit deeper and think about your ideal client. Why are they ideal for you? What is it about their personality that lights up your face when you see them on your calendar? Think about that person. Or maybe there are several. Or maybe there's one that's in your mind you wish you had, right? Why? Are they coachable? Are they friendly? Are they super smart? Are they beginning in business? Are they experienced in business? And so that makes you happy. Find out for yourself what makes you happy. And when you're completing the ideal client profile form, you want to be focused on your happiness, because that will attract clients that will know, like, and love you. I want you also to think about, on that ideal client form, what keeps them up at night. And when you're thinking about that, don't limit it just to the problems that you solve, but really try to understand what is keeping them up at night. And then also try to work it into what might keep them up at night that you do have a solution for. The more detailed you can be with this is going to mean that your profile is optimized in such a way that is going to attract those ideal clients, because you're going to be using language that you've developed on that form. Now, one last word here, and I've kind of already hinted at it. It is your LinkedIn profile is your website, whether you want it to be or not. It is the first place people often go to find out about who you are and what you're about. We only get one chance to make a first impression. Let's make sure it is solid. We want to make it count. Now, I want to introduce you just a little bit to Mary Jane Charles and tell you a little bit about what she has shared with me. She has an incredible business that supports people in being prepared for the inevitable with her books and programs that ensure nothing is overlooked. And like Barbara Johnson, Mary Jane took a masterclass just like this one, completed my 4-week program, and became a member of the LinkedIn GPS cohort. And when she says it happens fast, she means it. She now has momentum and is seeing success. She is selling her book bundles, meeting with collaborators, enrolling people in her masterclasses. So buckle in, as she says. Thank you for sharing that with me, Mary Jane. Now let's talk about your profile. Your professional profile on LinkedIn is an ongoing work in progress. We are all changing all of the time, and so is LinkedIn. I am always in the process of updating my profile, especially my banner and intro section, as you can see there on the screen. An effective LinkedIn profile should urge people to want to learn more about you and your business. Well, how do you achieve that? Well, you do that by showing potential clients and customers that you understand their troubles, that you understand their pain points. And it's not enough anymore to just stand out. You need to be able to stand out to the people who are interested in your services. The last thing you want is for your LinkedIn profile to resemble a biography or a resume or a laundry list of accomplishments. Everything in your profile should speak directly to your target audience. What are the elements of an optimized profile? You really must complete all of these elements that you see here on the screen. You've got to have a strong banner picture, and I recommend using canva.com. You've got to have a phenomenal intro section with creator mode turned on. We're going to talk about this. You need to have your company logo right there in your intro section. And then you really must have all of the sections available to you activated. You change up your banner picture as your offerings change, and even parts of your intro section. You change these up as your offerings change, as you refine your target audience, as you're hosting events, appearing on podcasts, or to quote, advertise whatever you're currently doing that you want people to know about. Your intro section is what people see after your banner section, so we've got to make it count, and we're going to cover this in detail. But let's start out with your banner picture. Again, canva.com is how I've created all of mine, and believe you me, I am not a graphics designer. I have, in fact, no artistic skill sets. I'll just be honest. That said, thanks to canva.com, I've been able to create some pretty good banners for LinkedIn and other things as well that seem to be effective. What goes into an effective banner picture? Well, these are really the key elements that you see here on the screen. What you do, expected results, where should folks go to either connect with you, or what call to action do you want to have in there, and some contact information. The call to action, I want to just say a word about. The call to action could be anything from ring my bell, which is a feature on LinkedIn, and that means that when people go to your profile, if they haven't clicked the little bell icon on your profile, if you ask them to in your banner picture, then when they do, they're going to get notified every time you post. So that's a pretty cool little call to action that you could have. You can also have a call to action to a hyperlink in your intro section, which we'll cover here shortly. Now, one really important thing, you'll notice on both of these designs, there's this blank spot over to the left. That is to leave room for your headshot. So when you are making a design on Canva, they do have a LinkedIn banner template that is fantastic, but you always have to, they don't account for the headshots. So that's something you have to take into account when you are creating that. And I just want to share with you again about Dottie Scott. We did some consulting together, and she let me know that she is now getting more targeted inquiries, more business in her Ask Dottie membership. And appreciate you, Dottie, for sharing that, not just with me, but allowing me to share this with the folks here so that they understand that you are having some success here. And I love to hear that. Now let's talk about your intro section. This is my intro section. And you can see that I have creator mode turned on because you'll note there where that blue arrow just popped up, that is a list of topics that I quote, talk about. When you have creator mode on, you get to designate 5 topics that you like to talk about. This gives people an idea of kind of what you do and how you do it. The second thing that pops up when you have creator mode on is the hyperlink. You can tell I'm on creator mode because you see this hyperlink. This is something that people can click directly from my intro section, and it will take them wherever I have told LinkedIn I want them to go. This could go to a landing page to build your email list. This could go to a special offer. This could go to a masterclass. There are all kinds of things you can use in creator mode to take advantage of that feature. Then there's your headline, which is super important. Your headline has to be an attention grabber. The other thing to understand about your headline is that it literally follows you everywhere. You notice down here in the corner where it says the feature alert, I did a post, but look what shows up. The first part of my headline, right? This follows you in everything you do on LinkedIn, which means make sure that those first words are going to be something that people want to know more about. When you comment, when you post, no matter what you're doing there, your headline shows up and follows you, which I think is fantastic. Now let's talk specifically about the elements of your intro section. I want to point out these little pencils that I've circled here. These are your edit pencils. Every place on your profile where you see a pencil like that means that you can edit that section. So you will want to pay attention to them and make sure that you understand where they are so that you can continue to make edits as you move along in your business. The next thing is your headshot. Please make it a professional headshot. We'll talk a little bit about that, more about that later, but make it professional. Next is your banner picture in general. We've already talked a little bit about that and how to use Canva. And back to your headshot for a minute. I forgot to mention, there is an option now to create a 30-second video that it kind of hides behind your headshot. Once you have uploaded your video to your LinkedIn profile, whoever visits your profile will see that you have a video, and they'll see the first like 5 seconds of it, which encourages them to click on it, and they'll see the whole thing. Fantastic feature, and I highly recommend that you put it to use, activate it, introduce yourself and how you serve. My advice, however, is do not wing it, script it out, know what you're going to say, and get it done. Now, you might notice, and let me keep going here, and I'm going to say something a minute ago. So here's your name. It's simple. Notice that. I'm going to talk more about that later as well. There's your audio feature. This audio feature is another way of letting people get to know you. You only can activate this feature from the LinkedIn app. So go to your phone, go to the LinkedIn app, navigate to your profile, and hit that the edit pencil in your app and record it's I think 10 seconds. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but you'd be amazed what you can accomplish in 10 seconds. First, you do want to say your name just so that people are perfectly clear about how to pronounce it. And then just be friendly. This is not a place to sell, but it is a place just to maybe mention your business and whatever else you think is pertinent. The main point is simply that people like to hear the voice of people they are trying to get to know. And this is a great way to let them do that. And now we have the video that you can couple with that. Next, your company and education. You notice there are logos here by my company name and education. This is critical. It all goes to credibility. Every little piece of your LinkedIn presence speaks to your credibility and whether people will trust you or not. So you don't want to have something other than your logos showing up. Your headline is critical. We're going to talk about a headline formula here in a little bit, but I've already mentioned how important it is because it follows you. You really want to be aware of the words you're using and whether they're going to be attracting your ideal clients. And you may need to split test this. And that's a great idea. And the way you do that is you choose one, you leave it up for at least 1 month. If you're not getting any traction, think about changing it. Services page. We get a page to describe our services. I want everybody to activate this, not right now, but when we're done, go and activate this page. Spend some time on it. It is fantastic. And I'm going to share a little bit more about that as well. Now you'll notice that in this particular version of my intro section, I don't have my creator mode turned on. I did that for a reason, because it's so important. Look what I'm missing out on. I don't have a hyperlink. I don't have talks about it. It just doesn't serve me as well. There are also other reasons to have your hyperlink on, but those two alone are enough to have it turned on. So let's talk about your headshot a minute. I hope that these headshot examples are obvious about why you should or shouldn't use them. A gray box should never appear on your profile. Let's face it, it's not you. You may be wondering why the cute window picture gets an X also. But the reason is simple. It is not a headshot. People want to see your face. And the picture that you put for your headshot needs to represent you as you look today. Not just because it's a picture that you really like, but maybe it was 10 years old, or maybe it doesn't really look like you in person, but you just love the way it looks. That's not a reason to use it. Your headshot needs to look like you. Be authentic. That is probably the most important thing that's happening on social media in today's world. So the third picture there checks all the boxes. You can clearly see her face. She's smiling, no distracting backgrounds. And I know Brenda, that's Brenda Meller, and she looks like that. So this is what you want. You don't want to shock people when you show up to a meeting. Now, let's talk a little bit about your name. This is what it should not look like. You do not want to have a lot of crazy emojis or extra words. You will end up hurting yourself because you won't show up in LinkedIn searches. Remember, I said LinkedIn's a big search engine, and I wasn't kidding. So LinkedIn uses these fields for indexing, which impacts how other LinkedIn users find you and people like you in your industry. So your best practice is to have just your name and your professional title, like I do here. Now, and JD is for attorney, but if you don't have a professional title, don't make one up. I think that goes without saying. If you want to use an emoji, as you see I have, make sure that it is part of your brand or personality and only use one. And as a bonus for being here live today, you will receive detailed instructions about how to maximize your headshot and your naming options so that you're more easily found in LinkedIn searches. It is time to rethink your headline. Well, I've already hit on this a couple of times, but I want to give you a formula that has stood the test of time over years, over decades, across industries, and really is just a tried and true sales formula. It is one of the most popular formulas, even though it's been in use for so long. And done correctly, it will help your ideal clients self-select when they are checking you out. So if you will think about your headline with these 4 elements, you want to talk about the ultimate desired outcome for your ideal client, whatever that might be. You want to talk about what that looks like without that pain point that's in their side. You want to specify how long it takes for them to achieve a goal with you. And then you want to have a call to action. And that call to action can be, again, anything like get my free asset. Those aren't the words I would use, but get the checklist below to get started or something like that, right? And I just a brief word about calls to action right here I want to share with you. Please do not put as your call to action, text me, call me, book a meeting. It is not going to happen from this alone. People do not book meetings, call people, text people if they don't already know you, okay? So it needs to be a different type of call to action. Just kind of want to make you aware of that. So we're going to move on to specific profile sections. But before we do that, I want to take a moment to introduce you to Deborah Morrison. Deborah is the CEO and founder of Women Navigating Finances. And after taking my masterclass and deep dive, her overall presence on LinkedIn has gone to new heights. And I just have to say kudos to Deborah for taking action and implementing what she learned. She's got a bit of a sense of humor, and I love how she put wicked smart. Well, anyway, thank you, Deborah, for that. It makes me laugh every time I see it. So let's talk about your profile sections. As I've mentioned, your profile, to be optimized, must be complete. So in addition to your banner picture and your intro section, you have got to have your sections activated. And you can see here with the blue arrow that says add profile section. So when you go to your professional profile, you will see that button that says add profile section. You want to click on that and check out what you can add. This little drop pop-up will appear on your screen. Go through every single section here and activate everything that is appropriate and complete it. That being said, I wouldn't activate it till you're ready to complete it, but be aware of what you need to complete, what needs to be filled in, and how you're going to make a plan to fill it in, okay? It is this kind of attention to your profile that will extend your reach and have it doing the heavy lifting for you. One of the ways it does that is that, again, the LinkedIn algorithm rewards profiles in the feed who have a complete profile. So don't leave anything blank, right? That's the lesson there. Now, a strong profile will always rely upon your well-developed ideal client profile. And contrary to popular belief, you do not serve everyone, okay? Everyone is not your target audience. I was working with a client last week whose profile was trying to attract women as their clients. Well, that was just way too broad, right? So after we went through the ideal client exercise, we were able to narrow it down quite a bit. She actually really enjoys working with Christian nurses. The more narrow your niche can be on LinkedIn, the more successful you will be. You want to pick a lane and stay in it. And once we identified her niche and narrowing it down, she was able to have a much more successful profile and began to attract people she actually wants to work with. Now, doing this also means activating your endorsements and recommendations when you're looking at what to add to your profile. And I want to say a word about recommending and endorsing for that matter. Recommending means leave a recommendation that has substance. Don't just say, oh, Jane was great to work with. That doesn't tell someone looking at that recommendation why it was great to work with Jane. So you really want to focus on giving a quality recommendation, which will result in you getting more quality recommendations as well. So next thing we're going to talk about here, is your logo. Remember, I talked about having your professional logo showing up on your profile. If you don't take the steps to have the logos showing up, what will show up is a generic business box known as the gray box, gray chart, whatever you want to call it. This is in your intro section, right? We don't want this to be one of the first things people see. Which do you think of the two in front of you, which would you give more credibility to? Something that just had a generic gray box, or something that has my logo and my school's logo? I don't know about you, but I'm probably going to, not probably, I am going to go toward the one that has the more look of credibility and authenticity. And as a special bonus, again, for you guys in attendance today, watch your email for instructions to go from generic to credible and trusted with adding your logo to your profile. Let's move on to the services page. This is all still within your intro section. So the services page that I mentioned a few minutes ago allows you to create a page that shows you your folks. You get basically a brand new about section, and it's shorter. So you can use this to highlight a particular service or lots of services, whatever makes sense to you. But it's a great way, and you get to make a list of services provided, and you can add media to this page as well. And what's really amazing is that you can actually share this page through a direct message or in a post. Maybe you've just launched it and you want to make people aware of that. It's a great way to share about what you do. When your prospects or clients come to this page, they can actually request a proposal from you. And LinkedIn automatically helps you put that proposal information together. It's really a great feature, and I want to encourage everybody to spend some time with that. You can also get specific reviews on your services page. So that's also another way to build your reputation. We're going to leave the intro section finally. And now we're moving into the next thing that normally appears on a profile, and that is the about section. Your about section is something that we hope your visitors will scroll down to. Sometimes that's the call to action in a banner picture. Check out my about section. That's a great call to action. When they get to your about section, they're going to see just a snippet of it. It's important that your snippet is enticing enough to encourage them to click on the See More button. Does your preview of your about section have enough in it to get them to want to know more? And if they do, then you want them to see something that looks kind of like that. That's mine. Now I change it. So it might not look like that if you go in a week to see it, because I like to keep it fresh. But the elements that you want to have in your about section, and you already have a template for this guide to help you in the information I've sent out. So once they click on that, you want to talk about results, you want to talk about your mission, how you serve, what do you do, what's different about you, and how to contact you. What's some options down here? This is basically your call to action section down here at the bottom, right? So this is a great way to dive in a little bit with what you do. I want to point out, though, this is not where you are going to go into detail about specific offerings. You want to save that for the experience section, which we're going to look at right now. So this is my experience section, and it's hard to see on this screen, but you can actually have subsections on your experience section. So this little dot lets you know, and you would see another little dot down here at the bottom and yet another one. This is where you're going to describe your offerings. This is kind of your sales page, okay? So you can add media, you can go into detail about how you work with people. It is a great way to share that information. I mentioned recommendations earlier and how important they are. So recommendations will give you credibility and build your reputation. It's my philosophy in life, really, but definitely in recommendations. You always want to give more than you receive. Sometimes it's kind of hard to keep up with that, but do your best. And if you start getting more, make sure you're giving them as well, and that you're giving good recommendations, right? You want to make sure that the people reading your recommendation and the people who you are recommending, that you have given true value in what you've chosen to say. This is really important. And endorsements have become much stronger. Let me show you what I mean by that. We've got a new feature in endorsements. So when you go to your profile page and you scroll down and look at your endorsement section, you will now see a button saying demonstrate skills. And you can go in there and choose what gives you the basis for asking for an endorsement in any particular area. So if I've asked for endorsements in being an owner of a business, well, how do I have that privilege to even give advice on that, right? So I just put in here, well, I offer masterclass training. I am an owner of the business. I offer courses on both LinkedIn and business training in general. So this gives somebody just a quick look at why they might give me some credibility there and endorse me. Now, I will share with you, building up to 99 endorsements, which is the magic number, by the way, it can be a challenge. It's a challenge for me. People forget to endorse. And LinkedIn no longer reminds us to endorse people. When I finally got around to pinning my LinkedIn skills as my top 3, it was like starting over, because I had like 50 different endorsement categories, which is great if you want your endorsements spread thin, right? But now you can pin your endorsements and choose your top 3 and demonstrate the skills on those as well. It's still a challenge to get the requisite 99. It's not a required 99, but it improves your search status and a whole lot of other nice tipping points on the LinkedIn algorithm. But the good news is that when you take the time to endorse someone else, they're probably going to turn around and endorse you as well. They get notified through their direct messaging that you just endorsed them. They'll thank you, no doubt. And hopefully they will return the favor and give you an endorsement. So before you start endorsing people, make sure you have pinned your 3 top skills so that that's where you're going to get your endorsements. Now, another new feature alert that I'm super excited about is that course listings is now a section that you can activate on your LinkedIn professional profile page. And you can see here, I've put 3 of my courses or offerings here in this section. So they can look here and say, oh, that's what she does, right? And remember, if you put it in your experience section, you've got all kinds of links up there that tie into this same information. One of the things you'll learn about LinkedIn is that redundancy is a great thing. You really want to have redundancy because you never know where somebody's going to end up putting their eyes on your profile, right? So this just reinforces everything you do, and it takes advantage of the tools and features that LinkedIn offers us for free. So I'm super excited about that. It is a great way to showcase what you offer. And again, it links into your offerings in your experience section. So I have a question for you now. Aristotle told us the problem with achieving success. We aim too low and we hit the target. Is that where you are today? Do you want to reach higher levels of business, scale some? Well, I want to challenge you to aim high And I'll show you how to do that with success. And what does that look like? Well, I do offer a 4-week course that I'm going to share a little bit with you now. And what that looks like is it takes a 30-day commitment to leveling up your LinkedIn results. This course isn't for everyone, okay? If you're not willing to kind of put in the time, then it's not for you. However, if you are ready to truly level up your LinkedIn presence, to get new business consistently from LinkedIn, to implement a simple 20-minute system that can book meetings on your calendar regularly, to have at least 100 new targeted connections in that 4 weeks, and to be booking meetings with ideal clients, then this program is for you. So let me show you what that might look like. Now, I've had the privilege of working with people who some of you know. I know many of you know Trish Carr. We've worked together, and she was kind enough to share, that what she's learned has worked for her, and it can work for you too. So also, Rita Thomas, who's been helping us out today, thank you very much, Rita. She is our funnel godmother and a Keep certified partner. You might wonder how she can answer so many LinkedIn questions. Well, you guessed it. It's because she started out with a masterclass like this one, followed that by completing the 4-week course, and then became a member of our LinkedIn GPS cohort. Her results: in her first week, she got 12 quality connections and booked 4 client meetings. She no longer has to worry about where she's going to find her new clients. And she is using the 2-phase engagement strategy that I train on, and getting fantastic improvements in her reach, just like you saw in mine earlier in the class today. So let me share with you now how you can have similar results. The best way to get quality connection in today's world is all about quality over quantity. It's relationship before sales. It's adding value instead of sales pitches. I've created a group program where we're going to work together to ensure that you get at least 100 quality connections or more in the next 30 days of the program, and that you are cracking the code for LinkedIn so that you can grow your business with ease and start seeing profits. Because you know as well as I do, anything that is going to produce real results needs consistency. And it can be incredibly confusing out there in LinkedIn land. And it's my passion, my job, my responsibility really, to be able to share with you how you can have the same success that I've had and that these other folks have had that you've heard from. And we do this with 4 modules. I will be by your side the entire time to make sure you're not getting stuck or stopped somehow, and that you're also maximizing all of the LinkedIn secrets that I've really only touched upon the surface of today. And I hope you would agree that I've shared with you some things maybe you didn't know about LinkedIn before. Well, I've got plenty more to share with you so that you too can enjoy the same success. And this comes in 4 modules, but like I said, we start class on January 19th. Class size is limited though, because I want to make sure that everybody gets the attention that they need. What we do during these 4 weeks: first week, we are really going to zone in on your profile. You're getting a head start on it today. Hopefully, if you decide to join us in really leveling up on LinkedIn, then you will take what you're learning today and try to put it into action. Then we move right into module 2 with making sure you're getting the right connections. Let's build a targeted, self-selecting connection list, right, with your target audience. That means we're going to teach you how to find that target audience, how to connect with them in a way that they will accept your connection, and you can begin to engage. I don't know about you, but I was kind of tired of going to online networking events and leaving with a chat filled with a whole bunch of people, and you have no idea who's an ideal client and who's not. Well, with LinkedIn, you don't have to worry about that because you can do all of that sorting and sifting right there on LinkedIn. Week 3 is the engagement strategy section, where we're going to develop your messaging tree so that you know how to continue that conversation. You know how to get engagement that moves you to getting that one-to-one meeting booked on your calendar. This is what I love to do. And the reason that the class size is limited is so that I can make sure that every single student has the correct message trees developed for your business. Finally, in week 4, we're going to pull it all together. What I want you to be able to do, I like to teach people to fish. I don't want to have to fish for you. So my goal with this training is that you are fishing for yourself out there, getting those meetings, getting those connections, finding collaboration partners, getting speaking opportunities, whatever it is you're looking for on LinkedIn, you now have the tools to do it. Nobody achieves big goals on an island. So I have really expanded how this deep dive works. We all need guidance and support. When you enroll today, you actually get to start today because you're going to get a free membership for 2 months through the course so that you have pretty much unlimited access to me. You can text me. You can direct message me on LinkedIn. You'll be part of a LinkedIn private cohort group. 2 months of office hours where you can just bring issues and we work through them. 2 months past to my monthly masterclasses. Email contact, so you can send me things you want me to look at, and an ongoing review of your progress. I'm absolutely devoted to your success, and I will be there with you at every step of the way, so that by the end of the 4 weeks, your LinkedIn presence will be bringing you new business. And to ensure your success, like I've said, I am making myself available to you as I have never done before. So there are no excuses for getting stuck because I am as close as your cell phone. And what exactly is this cohort thing? And how do the benefits start today? Well, when you enroll today, you get immediate access to the cohort. What that means is you get access to an online training library that's on demand. This is just a glimpse of kind of what that looks like. And you also get all of the office hours, all of the contact that is normally reserved only for the cohort members. But I want to make sure that everybody in this deep dive has the success and access to all of the tools that I've created for you to achieve that success. So here's how it works. In our classes, we'll be together on Zoom. And if you haven't figured out by now, I really am results driven. We'll be checking your analytics and stuff like that, but I want to make sure everyone is getting results. So we've got 4 class dates which start, as I mentioned, on January 19th. We meet for 4 consecutive weeks from 3 to 4:30 p.m. In each 90-minute session, you will be learning and doing. This is a course where it is interactive, and the only way for you to have the tools that you need by the end of the course and really understand how to use them is for us to, quote, get it done, right? So that is what we're going to do. All of the sessions are recorded. So if you're looking at these dates and thinking, well, I'm going to be out of town on that day, or I can't go because of this or that, don't worry, you'll have lifetime access to the replays and pretty much unlimited access to me. So if you missed the live class, no worries. You can easily reach out to me, ask your questions, and we'll get it worked out for you. And you will have access to me through the end of the month of February, even though the course ends on the 9th. Like I said, I am devoted to your success. I want to make sure you have the support that you need. So let me ask you, if the only thing you got from enrolling in the deep dive was even one of the results that these women saw. We've got Mary Jane, Charles, Barbara Johnson, Rita Thomas, Deborah Morrison, Trish Carr, Dottie Scott. If this was the only result that you got, was just one of the things that they got, would that be worth it to you? The course is valued at over $1,500. But again, if you know me at all, and you will get to know me, I really want to deliver value to you in a way that's affordable. So your investment for the entire 4 weeks is only $497. So you never have to worry again about where to find your next client. They are waiting for you on LinkedIn. Let's don't leave them wanting. So let me ask you, this is the program. You've got it here on the screen here. And I think Rita has put in the chat the link. And if not, if you do that again, that would be great, Rita. If you all want to go ahead and
Hey, I got it.
Yes, Rita?
I'm getting it right now, yeah.
Oh, thank you. Okay. So Rita's going to put the link in the chat, and you can see it at the top of the screen there. If you want more information about the program and you want to enroll, that would be how you would do it. But let me ask you a question. How much did you spend on getting your website put together and published? Thousands, probably. I know I did, like I mentioned before. How much time did you put into it before it was launched? Weeks, months? Most people I hear from, it's months. How much time did you personally spend in getting that all pulled together? I'm going to guess that it was a little more than $497 in 4 weeks. And if you are serious about having access to a platform that converts, LinkedIn is the place for you. So ask yourself, is it worth it for $497 to get 4 weeks, at the end of which you will have a system that is wash, rinse, repeat, and gets new clients and new meetings booked consistently? I would ask you to look at your Google Analytics, not right now, but check out your Google Analytics, and hopefully you already know them. But what is the conversion rate for people who only go to your website? Are they buying your services just on the strength of your website? My guess is no. That's how it is for me. I've checked mine. I have a good website. I love my website. But most people don't purchase from my website without first having had some kind of interaction with me. And for me, that is interaction on LinkedIn, because that is where I do all of my business development. So just kind of be thinking about that in your head. Are you willing to commit to 4 weeks to make a significant shift in your business? If you are, then this program is for you. If you are not serious about using LinkedIn, this is not the program for you. And keep in mind, I am limiting class size. So if you want in, you will want to get in as soon as possible. I'm not going to jeopardize the student enrollment just to get more students. This is about quality and results. That's what's important to me. So this is the program. And let's see, Rita, you did say you put that in the chat, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. I see some great questions in the chat. So I'm going to open up the chat here and begin to take some of them. Okay. Give me just a moment.
Laura, I have them written down in order when they were.
Well, Rita, take it away.
Okay.
Let me stop the share now so that I can see everybody. Okay, give me just a minute to do that. All right. Thanks, everybody. All right, take it away, Rita.
Kathy Friedman asked early on, is the services section about a lead magnet?
It certainly can be, but that is not the only thing it's about. That providing services page is a way to show people how you work with folks. It just gives you a kind of another bite at the apple in a different way. What's neat about it is that there aren't very many people taking advantage of it. So one thing you could do as a call to action is say, check out my services page for more details, right? And what I want to encourage everybody to do with regard to that services page is to play with it. See what it looks like when you request a proposal. Send it in a direct message to a good buddy and have them go through the process and get their feedback, see where it could be tweaked, right? Because it can be a really powerful aspect of your LinkedIn profile page. The other part that I didn't even have time to cover here is your featured section. Please take a look at that when you're activating all your sections. Get that featured section active. That is what people will see first, and you can really get a lot of traction that way. Okay, I hope that answered your question, Katie.
Okay, great. So Mary,
Can I keep going with another question?
Sure, but I want to make sure I get through everybody.
Oh, okay.
ahead.
Well, I'll wait until the
No,
end then.
Well, no, go ahead. You're here. Go ahead.
It's just that if I have an article that I published somewhere else and I want to put it in LinkedIn, where do I double dip on that also? Do I put that in two different places?
Oh,
And what two
absolutely.
places do I put it in?
You're going to put it in a post, but don't do a third party link. So you need to download it to your system, upload it to LinkedIn, and you want to write an actual article. So instead of a post, when you go to create a post, you'll see article is one of the options. Do that.
Thank you.
All right, Rita, what's next?
okay, so Mary Jane had two questions. She said, is it necessary to ask before she shares an endorsement if it was a recommendation? So the sharing of it, does she need to ask the person?
So first of all, who asked that question? I missed that.
Mary Jane.
Mary Jane. Okay. So first of all, Mary Jane, on an endorsement's just an endorsement. You don't really get to, there's no other way to use that. The recommendations, if somebody's giving you a recommendation and you want to use it somewhere else, maybe like on a website, is that what you're getting at, I guess?
I didn't know if either was mutually exclusive of the other. If you receive a recommendation, is that license? And I think I'm answering my own question. An endorsement is a different variety and it's stronger. Where
No. I believe that recommendations are stronger.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Yeah, but endorsements are important.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, great. What's
Okay.
next, Rita?
Thank
And
you.
the second question came from Mary Jane as well. Should she take the 4-week course if she's still developing her ideal client?
Oh,
no,
absolutely.
excuse me. That's not for me.
Well, that's okay.
I'm sorry, someone did
Still a
ask
great
that.
question. Still a great question. I don't know who asked that, but let me, oh, it looks like Mary Ann asked that. Okay, that's the confusion there. Great, Mary Ann, that's a great question. And the answer is absolutely. One of the things that we're going to do is make sure your ideal client is dialed in. You cannot have your profile optimized without that step. And that is something that I find people really struggle with, is dialing in on that ideal client. And you heard me mention pick a lane. So anybody who's worked with me knows that's one of my mantras. For LinkedIn, pick a lane. I have multiple businesses, but on LinkedIn, what do you know me for? You know me for LinkedIn training. That's my lane. So even if you have multiple businesses or interests, you want on LinkedIn to literally be as narrow as possible. That is how your ideal clients will self-select. That is how you will have a targeted list of connections. That is how you will get more meetings and more clients through self-selection and by dialing in on that ideal client deeply. So absolutely. Great question. Thank you.
Okay, so Cynthia did want to see the slide again that has the detail of what's covered in each of the 4 weeks. And we do have 2 more other questions.
Okay,
I got
great.
it. I'm okay, Rita, because
Oh,
you put it in the
okay.
thread. Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks.
Okay, so we're good on that. Okay, so 4 modules, look, optimize your profile, which is going to include your ideal client and a lot of other things. Then we talk about getting your connections lined up, how to connect, how to find the people to connect with, what to say to them to get them to accept your connection, and how to move that conversation forward is the week 3 in engagement, where we're going to be building out your messaging trees that are specific to your business. And in the 4th week, we pull it all together. We wrap it up. You've got the Barker 20 system down. You know how to do 2-phase engagement. You know how to get your reach improved. You know how to get those meetings booked over and over again. And just like, you know, Barbara and Rita and Peg and so many other people on here, some of the people already, you know, who have gone through this with me, understand that they can activate that system anytime they want to get more meetings and more clients. And, you know, as I mentioned, Barbara, bless her heart, had so much going on. She had to kind of back off. She was getting so many appointments. She didn't have time to do her work. So I love it when that happens. And it's such a comfort to know you don't have to worry that, oh no, I'm not prospecting at this very moment in time. I'm going to not be able to get new clients. Yes, you will, because you have the tools. All right. Another question, Rita?
So Tom asked about the 4-week course.
Yeah.
First, how are the recordings shared? And second, what would be the cost or situation to repeat the 4-week course?
Those are great questions, Tom. And Tom, you are a member of my cohort, so you don't want to click on the link that was put in the chat. So let me say this, for everybody who is in my cohort, you have a special deal, and you'll watch your email for that, and we'll take care of you, because that's what I like to do. So thank you for that question. I hope that answers it. Awesome.
Okay, so Susan, this is the last question that I felt like I couldn't answer in the chat. All the rest
Okay.
were answered. Is LinkedIn good for life coaching and retreats?
I am so glad that you asked
Felt
that.
like it was a little too much alternative maybe for LinkedIn.
Yeah, right. I totally
Yes.
feel you there. So let me say this. First of all, the answer is no, it is not too much for LinkedIn. It is appropriate. First of all, I was actually just talking about you and your retreat center with someone who just needs a place for a good retreat. And I said, I got a place for you. Let me give you her information. Susan, by the way, has a great retreat in Southern Georgia, just so you know. It's got horses. She does equine therapy. I want to go like now. But anyway, so yeah, Susan, you know, there are people on LinkedIn, there are companies looking for great retreat places. There are individuals who hold smaller summits, smaller retreat events that are looking for places. And it really is, Susan, just about dialing in, getting your profile, speaking to those people, so that when they see your profile, they go, oh my gosh, I'm dreaming of something like that. That is perfect, right? That's what we want. And that's exactly what you can have. Absolutely.
So
Perfect.
I have a secondary question to that. Yeah, on her LinkedIn lane could be attracting people who want to book her facility versus attracting people who want to participate in necessarily her program.
Well, right. So that's exactly where we would focus, Rita. That's a good point. That we would focus on who's booking retreat, who needs to book a retreat, right? But the other thing is, Susan herself will be putting on retreats, and so that's going to be another avenue that we will put in the experience section and build up through other aspects of your profile. Perfect. And Rita, by the way, is so good because she's heard me talk a little bit before, so and been through my training. So thank you for being so helpful today. And I see
I also have a third stream, and it's farm stays, because there's an Airbnb and there are 2 glamping tents that I rent on various sites out for just, you know, friends and family. So I just want to make sure there's enough for me to work on that. I will be able to attract clientele through the work that if I sign up to do your class.
I have no doubt that you will. I really have no doubt. What you have to offer is, it's first of all very unique, of course. It's very niched down, and we'll be able to highlight all 3 of those offerings that you have.
Thank you.
Perfect. And let's see, it looks like we have some hands up. Sandy, I see your hand up.
Oh, hi, Laura. Great information again. I always look forward to your classes. So my question goes back to the endorsements.
Yes.
And just to kind of do it vaguely at first. Is it best just not to even try to play around with LinkedIn in the sense of, endorsing one skill one day and then a couple weeks later going back to the same person and endorsing another skill? Is it best to go in and just endorse what you're going to endorse and then leave it?
That's a great question, Sandy. So when we're talking about endorsing other people, first of all, don't give endorsements to people we don't know anything about.
Right.
Okay. We want to make sure that the endorsements you give are legit. Now, it's perfectly appropriate to endorse someone based on their reputation, based on maybe what somebody else has told you. An endorsement is fine for that. And what I do, frankly, when I go to somebody's page to endorse someone, I just automatically endorse their top 3, assuming I feel like I have enough knowledge about it, and move on. And they're going to get notified that I endorse them on all 3. Hopefully they return the favor and feel qualified to return the favor. Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you.
Perfect. All right, Alexandra.
Hey, real quick, I noticed you had said about the emojis, and I took emojis out of my headline. And I do notice that in yours, you had check marks separating each like little subheadline. Are those okay, or was that an old example, or?
No, I'm so glad you brought that up. So emojis are kind of the craziness on LinkedIn right now. So there used to be too many emojis everywhere, right? People were literally, their whole headline looked like one big list of emojis, their posts, emojis, right? And LinkedIn has just taken the position that that's not professional. So for everybody, I want everybody to hear this. On LinkedIn, it is okay to use emojis sparingly and professionally. Now, let me tell you what that means. That means, like I mentioned, in your name, maybe don't even have one, but if it's part of your brand, okay, you can get by with it. But don't put like extra words about what you do in your name. I know that's off the emoji topic, but anyway, but also on the emoji topic. So yeah, I do have emojis back in my headline. So I did some split testing. I had taken emojis out completely, and I just used kind of an up and down line to separate the ideas, right? I just wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling the love. So I decided to, after about 6 weeks, to go back and put some professional looking emojis in, right? So what a professional looking emoji means in unwritten rules is no smiley faces, no facial expression emojis. All right, check marks, a rocket, maybe, to fuel your business, but not faces. Just don't use faces, and use them very sparingly.
Thank you.
I hope that answers your question.
I'm glad I asked, because
I'm glad you asked too, because it is an important thing. It's funny. LinkedIn is a funny animal, but when we play by its rules and we understand the algorithms behind it, we can really move the needle in our business. And I make it my business to stay on top of new features and to alert people of the new features and to curate the algorithm report, by the way, which is 57 pages long. And I got to give a shout out to Richard Vanderblom, who pulls that together for us every year. He is absolutely phenomenal. And if you want the link to the 57-page report, I will make sure you get it. It's a little deep, but nonetheless, I like to pull out of it the things that I feel like are going to move the needle for you guys. And that's what I've done. And really, that's what that 2-phase engagement strategy is all about, that we use, and really boosts your presence on LinkedIn. It boosts your impressions, and it boosts your actual engagement when done properly. And yes, I train on that in the 4-week.
Awesome.
So for those of you who may have taken the 4-week before, Tom was asking about that. I don't know if he's still here. There he is. This is a completely different program. It is not at all the same as you might imagine, just with so many changes and all that happen. I've changed the format. I'm limiting the class size. It's just a different animal altogether, but yeah. All right, let's see. It is 3:27, And in theory, I'm to end at 3:30. So I'm thrilled that I seem to have covered what we needed to cover, at least for today's class. Rita, if you could pop in the chat again, because I know you probably have it handy. If you would pop in the chat again, the link, in case anybody wants to go enroll in the deep dive or just wants to see what some more information about, what's covered and what it's about, that would be the place to go. Thank you there, dear. So we have just a couple more minutes. If anybody has another question, I would love to entertain it.
Yeah, I saw a really good one just now. And so the question is, what is professional and sparing use of these proper emojis? How would you describe that?
Well, so, in your headline, only as a dividing emoji. So if you have 3 statements in your headline, if you will, you only want to use an emoji to separate those out, and no more. You may or may not want to use an emoji on your name, like I mentioned, just one, and only if it is relevant to your brand. I'm a horse nut and am weaving that into my brand. So I decided to put a horse up there to let people know that. And you'll see content from me coming out that makes analogies to horseback riding. So it's all going to pull together. And then, in a post, I would not use them except as like check marks, as opposed to a bullet point, if you want. Again, though, no smiley faces, no facial expressions. I know it's boring. I know it's not my rule. And then, but in comments, do whatever you want. Okay. Emoji away in the comments. All right. It's really talking about posts and your profile.
And I did notice in your about section, you had one at the beginning of a paragraph, maybe not every paragraph.
That's right. And that's right. I tried to use them sparingly in my about section, but again, we got to break it up somehow, right, folks? And we got to make it interesting and we got to make it eye-catching. So there's this, balance between too much and not enough. And it's just striking a balance and kind of finding what works. Yeah, Victoria, I agree. Too many emojis can begin to look like clutter, for sure. And it can be distracting. So very good point. And I'm going to give you guys one more tip here that I didn't really have chance. Oh, I see Peg's post. Praise the Lord that Damar Hamlin has been released from the hospital. Holy moly, what a miracle. That's all worth a moment of celebration for sure. For sure. Thank you, Peg. That last tip that I did want to share, and it is 3:30, so if you want to hop off, I totally get it. I appreciate you coming. And if you have questions about the deep dive, you know how to reach out to me, but would love to see you in the course.
Oh, to save it here?
What?
Where?
Do you have some, Victoria? Okay, I was just going to give one last tip. A lot of people, you will see people in their post put a white line between every single sentence. Don't do it. Okay? Don't do it. Instead, use white lines, but sparingly. So get a little couple of sentences together and then a white line. Couple of sentences and then a white line. The reason people were using that method of a white line every time was to increase something called dwell time. LinkedIn has changed its algorithm, and dwell time is not treated in the same manner as it was in the past. And that was considered a workaround on the dwell time, because what people were trying to do was get people to stay on their post longer. So now that's not how the algorithm is rewarding us. So we don't want to do that. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up. You all have been phenomenal. Thank you so much. I know I'll see some of you in the deep dive starting in 2 weeks or so. In the meantime, if you are in the deep dive, make sure you're taking advantage of the cohort. If you have questions, you know how to reach me, email, text, direct message on LinkedIn, call me, whatever. I'm here to help. Thanks all. Appreciate you. And thank you, Rita. You're the best. All right. Bye now.